Thank you for joining us for live paranormal radio. From the paranormal to the unexplained, it all happens here. It all happens here. Looking to enhance your radio experience? Participate in our live video chat 24/7 with our live paranormal radio show hosts and other like-minded people. Live. ParaNormal.com, the only interactive social chat room supported by Full Interaction Media. Stop by now and join the fun. Stop by now and join the fun.
Hello, everyone. This is Paranormal Spotlight Radio. And I am Niki ParaUnNormal, and I am one of the hosts for this evening. The other would be, as everyone knows him, the amazing Rob. Hi, amazing Rob.
Amazing Rob is like a magician.
I know. Do you dance like a magician?
No, apparently I'm going by amazing Rob. That's kind of magician-like. I don't know how I feel about that. I feel like I'm one of those those smoke pellets. When I leave the room, hit it on the ground.
Very dramatic.
Amazing Rob gone.
Oof. Yeah,
I was actually thinking about the introduction today, and it's because I don't watch a lot of TV, but I've been working from home lately due to the hip deal. I've kind of gotten accustomed to working out of the house, and I've had the TV on. I've noticed a lot of these shows are coming from locations, so I thought we should lie and say on our introductions, live from Walt Disney World Studios in Orlando, Florida. And I like our introductions and make them more dramatic because they do that. Like an on-location show, but we'll lie. And we'll come from a different cool on-location.
We'll just totally lie. Okay, so where are you calling from? What location are you at? Am I at the same one, or can I pick something different?
We probably should be together. So maybe we'll do the...
Well, where are we at? We probably should discuss that before we go on air. Huh?
I like Walt Disney Studios in Orlando, Florida.
Okay.
And then maybe we'll do Universal Studios in Orlando, Florida sometime, too. I don't know.
Ooh, change it up a little.
Right, one down the street. A couple exits.
Right.
West, I believe.
Yeah.
Maybe east.
Until someone actually comes and looks for us or something, and we're totally not there. They'll be like, "What the hell?"
Well,
do you think anybody comes and would look for us?
That's when we supply Photoshop pictures. Obviously we're here, picture two people with, then we'll just put our heads on it. That'll be the
cool.
That'll be the way we will remedy any kind of questions.
Okay, well, can I be Cinderella at least one time?
Yeah, because you just I was thinking the Wicked Stepmother or I'm kidding. Yeah, I think you kind of set yourself up with that one.
Oh my gosh!
Kidding. I'm just kidding.
No, that is not okay.
It's not the tone setter we wanted for the rest of the show, huh?
Yeah, way to go.
Well,
now I'm grumpy.
Really?
Yep.
I thought you were sleepy because of your lack of sleep and.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Well, I'm going to see if that's our guest. I'm going to leave you here to entertain. I'll be back.
I can do my magic tricks.
Yep. Do a magic trick while I'm gone.
I wish I was prepared. I'll do this. Maybe I'll plug. I'll do some plugs for the Paranormal SuperCon.
Okay, bye.
Well, anyway, so I guess it's plug time. The Paranormal SuperCon is coming up July 24th and 25th, 2015. So it's roughly 2 months away. We have some great new guests and vendors on the building. So check out www.ParaUnNormal.com ParanormalSuperCon.com. And we also are going to announce next week a new event, so stay tuned for that. We'll probably be announcing that on either this show or the SuperCon radio show, which is on Wednesdays. And I'm not sure when Niki will be back, so I'll just keep plugging.
I'm back.
You're not back.
I'm back. I was just going to see how long you could go.
I could plug and talk about myself pretty much the duration of the show. So
really? Maybe I'll have to test you on that. Maybe would you like to be my guest tomorrow night?
I will be a guest tomorrow night. Oh, I was just mentioning, maybe we'll make that announcement I was going to make next week tomorrow.
Ooh, jumping the gun, change of plans.
I love to jump the gun and just make stuff up on the fly and just say stuff that doesn't even make sense. And
okay.
We don't even have a name for what we're planning on doing yet, but
maybe we should get an opinion from the masses tomorrow.
We could.
Maybe.
We could.
We'll see. Maybe we'll have like some sort of magical like clarity or something, and it'll just come to us tonight or something.
Magic is the tone that was set earlier. Then we could even give out some sort of magical package to come out to the thing we're going to announce.
Yes, a magical package.
Right.
Speaking of magical, our guest tonight is an awesome guy who I had a magical experience at the WouijaCon where I actually got to meet him in person for the first time, and it was awesome. And he is, awesome guy. And when I met him in person, he's even more so awesome. So I'm really excited to bring on Alejandro Dominguez.
It's more awesomer. I think it's more awesomer.
Awesomest. Anyway, okay. So our guest is Alejandro Dominguez, the Dead Explorer, and let me go ahead and bring him in.
Hey, what's up? That was an awesome introduction.
Yeah, apparently
that
you were
awesome.
I didn't know if you heard mine, but I got amazing, and I thought amazing was kind of like a magician. So
I heard a little bit that you have some magical package or something, because man, you can't just leave things on. That came out really bad, so let's just pretend and say that. But you know what? I'm coming on. I'm like, man, I'm coming in after this cliffhanger about this event, and now I'm really curious about what's going on. So I guess I'll have to tune in. It sounds like tomorrow to find out what y'all are doing.
Oh, and I already jumped the gun from doing it next week to doing it tomorrow. So I might as well just like make the announcement today. But
whoa.
We'll see if I can get talked into it. If I can get talked into it by the end of the show, maybe I'll make the announcement. Announcement happy would be the term, I think, for that, if there was a proper term. So as Niki was mentioning, she had an awesome time meeting you, since you were an awesome person in Baltimore, at an awesome event, and I was there too for a little while before I decided to cut out. And it was definitely an awesome time, and we didn't have any great conversations prior to meeting in person, but we got a chance to hang out a little bit more than I anticipated due to my crew and your crew leaving us both behind. Which is a funny story in all itself, and I thought I'd get...
it's really not that funny.
Maybe
it's
30, 40 minutes to that topic alone. We can go on for that forever. But, it was great actually getting a chance to, hang out with you and talk to you during the entire time, but then actually the time when both of our crews decided that they didn't need us. So, we got left behind, and I kind of ran with the No Man Left Behind tagline, and, the new tagline at Live Paranormal is Every Man for Themselves, because, but basically to give the listeners a rundown, there was a chip coffee I guess it was a Ouija board experience, and I think it started at 10 o'clock. And I forget, you wanted to get water, if I'm not mistaken. Did you actually get water for somebody who was waiting for you? I think that's how that went. And I was doing a quick interview on the paper. Yeah, so you went to get something to drink, and I was doing a quick interview. And I'll let you tell your story of what happened after I tell mine. But so I was getting ready to go in, and I was with the people of Live Paranormal, Niki, Jen, and a couple other people were there. And I started to do an interview for the Baltimore newspaper, and my back was turned to the doors. And apparently I went past 10 o'clock when I was talking to the gentleman from the newspaper, which I didn't want to be rude. And instead of, coming and telling me, hey, they're going to lock the doors, you better come in, they just left me out there. And I missed the entire thing. And I was standing there by myself, and I noticed you walking in, and you had an extra water bottle in your hand, and, I'll let you take it from there.
Well, I think you pretty much set it up pretty well. I do have to say, though, we were at WichiCon, and like you said, Chip Coffey had just done a presentation for about an hour just talking about his experiences with spirit boards. And so he decided that everybody should take a break in this big old conference room, and that in 15 minutes everybody should come back, and we were going to move chairs around into a big old circle, and we were going to try to do supposedly one of the biggest Ouija board seances ever. That's it's WichiCon, so obviously they're going to try to go big, and they're going to try to do something that nobody's ever done before. So, I think just like you, I ran out to make a quick phone call. In fact, I ran out to call home just to check in before the kiddos went to bed because we were on different time zones. And I grabbed an extra bottle of water. You're right. I can't believe you remember that because I almost forgot. And the funny thing is I was bringing an extra water in case somebody in my crew wanted a bottle of water. And I showed up, and you and I were in the same situation. We walked up to the doors of the seance, and I guess for whatever reason they decided to lock the seance once it started, and we were both stuck outside the door. So it was really it was funny, kind of unexpected. Here we are, we're both kind of trying to take care of some business. We run back, and it seems like we were both forgotten by the people who were with us. It'd been nice, like a text or a call, but it's all good, because like you said, we ended up hanging out. And I think what was cool about that is that, a lot of times when you get together with other people in the paranormal, you always talk about the paranormal. And what was cool is that, we ended up talking about how you're a big, Cleveland Browns fan and Cleveland sports fan. We just got to hang out, just actually take a break from the paranormal, which, sometimes it's really cool. So I'm sure the people had a really cool seance, and I love WichiCon. It was a fantastic weekend. There were some great people there in the community, and it was just an awesome event. But, kind of silver lining was that, for men, you kind of get to get away from it all, just relax, and I think it was a cool break and a cool chance to meet somebody who I've known of. I mean, I've known of you forever from the work that you do, so it was really cool to get a chance to hang out, and obviously we all got to give Niki a hard time afterwards, which was also a little bit of fun.
Right, well, and that hard time will continue because anytime I'm left behind, I'm not going to let that just slide. And, obviously it was great to sit and talk sports and stuff, which Niki will tell you I will never shy away from the opportunity to talk about sports. And I know I believe you told me you're a Cowboys fan, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I just grew up a Cowboys fan, and I know people either love them or hate them, but, I don't know any better. I grew up in Dallas. That's my team. That's where my dad took me and my granddad to the first football game I ever went to. So, just hardcore, lifelong Dallas Cowboys fan, and everything, all Dallas sports really. So that's kind of where my allegiance lies.
Well, the irony of that was on my way home, I got a call, and it made me think of you because the call I got was from a gentleman, Aaron Glenn, who played for the Cowboys for a few years, cornerback, and he's now the cornerbacks coach for the Cleveland Browns. And I went and did some showed them some houses. So it was kind of ironic. We were just talking about the Cowboys, and then a former Cowboy called me on my way home from Baltimore. So
that is cool. Funny. That is cool. It's funny how you get those little things, kind of coincidence. I always find that whenever I go to an event like WujiCon, you'd be surprised that I'll come home and there's 2 completely unexpected emails. They're really not necessarily related to the event, but it's just funny somehow. Sometimes just being around all these people, kind of, it seems like it creates this energy that does these ripple effects around you, and it's kind of funny to see that. So it's funny that happened to you, because I felt like I had a couple interesting things that remind me a lot of the WujiCon for a couple of days too.
Well, and I will always relate the WujiCon to spending that hour speaking to you, and obviously being left behind. And
no man left behind.
Right. I'm pretty sure. I'll never forget that, and it's something.
I'll never be allowed to forget it either, guys. So I'm sure I'll always remember it as well.
It's kind of it touched me, and something that I will hold with me for the rest of my life, and it's just one of those experiences.
Wow, man, you're scarred, dude.
Scored on sticker.
Well,
why don't
like I told her, obviously if the doors are going to be locked, and you walk down the lobby and you see somebody doing an interview, you might want to come tap them on the shoulder and say, hey, the doors are going to be locked pretty soon. You might want to come in.
Do you think that's warned us?
That's my stance. I was doing a service for the event we were at, and so that's what happened. You would just think, out of if they did care, they would have come up and be like, hey, I know you're doing your interview, but the doors will be locking now, so you might want to come in. But no, they're just like, screw him, I believe is what they probably said. I cannot confirm that, but I would assume like, hey, you want to go get robbed? Jen's like, no. Niki's like, yeah, screw him. And I'm pretty sure. I don't really have that knowledge of what they said, but I'm going based on what, just a guesstimation of what really transpired there.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you're totally frigging wrong, but that's not the first time for that.
Anyway, I've maybe exhausted the no man left behind portion of this.
Yeah, you did that
I think you might need an intervention, Rob.
Right.
I swear, I'm passing out tissues in the chat room.
We might want to set up some kind of group therapy, and we can hash this out sometime.
Yeah.
Well, what we'll do is we'll move on, and if we happen to have time, we'll touch on it later on.
Okay.
Okay, that sounds good.
Well, I guess we didn't really give a great introduction to you. We kind of just went right into how we hung out, and my little funny story on the No Man Left Behind. So why don't you do us a favor, and everyone who hasn't read the press release, give us there's no better introduction than the person who is actually there to do it. So why don't you tell us about yourself?
Sure, absolutely. My name is Alejandro. I'm a paranormal investigator, filmmaker, and explorer. And basically, like a lot of people out there in the paranormal community, I'm obsessed with the search to answers of the unexplained. And so I am best known for a web series called The Explorer, which I'm the producer, director, and host, and it's on YouTube. And on YouTube, it has over 23,000 subscribers. And so it's an opportunity for me to share basically what I believe is my version of what a real life paranormal investigator's life is like. Of course, there's no right or wrong way to perform a paranormal investigation. It's just my version of what I like to do on an investigation, and I'm just really lucky that for whatever reason I've been able to reach other people on the internet and social media who think the same way I do or appreciate the way I investigate. And so basically I'm somebody obsessed with the paranormal. I think about it all day long, and it's really just filmmaking and paranormal is everything it seems like I've always wanted to do with my life. So I'm just really feel fortunate that there's people who give me opportunity to, like you, Rob, and Nikki, to come on and talk about the paranormal, because I love to connect with people out there who are as much in it as I am.
Well, I think that you obviously you do a great job, and we've already called you awesome about 30 times, so I think we've got that on control. But for what you have done, what are some of probably your most memorable moments, or probably your favorite episodes that you've created, or favorite things you have? I guess your favorite things you've done so far, and maybe tell us about any upcoming projects you might have, and give us a little rundown on things you've done and you want to do, or you have in the works.
Sure. Well, I've done probably close to 180 videos related to the paranormal on in the web series. About 80 of them have been different investigations, and so I've gone to places that are well known, like the Birdcage Theater in Tombstone, or the USS Hornet in California. And then of course I also a majority of my cases are also not well known. They're cases that I find out about through word of mouth, or just by reaching out and to historical commissions in small towns and trying to find out if there's any good places to investigate. And so there's been so many highlights as far as just things that I've just really I'm proud of. As much as I love going to the bucket list places, because going to those places that everybody knows about, it's like you get to be like a fanboy or a fangirl. It's like you geek out on I'm at this really haunted place and you love it. And so those are always really special to me. But the small cases, the places that nobody's ever been to, also has a special place in my heart, because you're going somewhere that somebody's never been to, and get an opportunity to investigate it for the first time and document the activity in that location. So I love the ability to try to do both ends of the spectrum. And some of the most popular videos that I've done are actually videos even where nothing happens. So my video that's most viral, I guess for lack of a better word, and the one that has over 600,000, 700,000 views, it's actually a video at a abandoned school. It used to be a World War II soldier barracks, and then it was a school, and then now it's abandoned, and nothing happens. Yet it's the most popular video I ever did, and so I'm really proud that that video represents what happens in most cases. That a lot of times paranormal investigating can be just a lot of research and asking questions, but you won't always get activity. And I'm so proud that a video that represents what a real paranormal investigation can look like is the most popular one I've ever done.
That's awesome.
Well, if I had a vote, hopefully one that you will consider doing, or you should do, is coming out to Erie, Pennsylvania this July and doing something at the SuperCon. I know it's a shameless plug, but I know I told you this before. And, I think it would be great to have you out in Erie, Pennsylvania in July, and we can maybe do some sort of you have full access, so just I'm offering it up here live, so and this is also recorded, so then really you can play it back. If I renege on it, you can't say you can't renege on it, because I've offered full access to the SuperCon, so there you have it.
That's awesome, Rob. And when you started talking about the Paracon with me, when we had our moment where we were, for some reason, somebody that we won't name left us behind. We it was really cool, because I got to check out the SuperCon flyer, and I was like, man, this is amazing. All the place sounds amazing. The guests sound amazing, and so I can't lie and say that I haven't thought about trying to make it. So I'm definitely looking at it, bro. And your offer is amazing. It might just be what tips me over the edge. So I'm definitely doing my homework to see if I can make it.
Well, I definitely appreciate it. You know, I think, and even since we have spoken, we had that time to speak in Baltimore. We've added so much more, and we added more guests, and we added a whole other speaking room for Friday. So, I think we're over 35 to 40 presentations for the 2 days. It's going to be crazy. So there's not like, if you get left behind, there's something else you can do.
Oh my gosh.
That could be a tagline that I never thought of until now. So, all you would do is go down to the next room.
There you go. Just that's it. That's the new tagline.
Right. So
you left behind, you'll have something to do.
Right. Why do you have so much going on? I'm like, well, based on my personal experience, being
people get
behind.
left behind.
Right.
I think we should call like a therapist and get a therapist on the show with us right now, and maybe we could all just share our feelings about that night.
I think you guys might need it. We might have to do a step 2 intervention on this topic.
Well, I mean, in all honesty, though, and of course I come with a really hugely biased opinion on the event, but really there is something for everybody, and there's something to do nonstop. Really, when you walk in there Friday at 5 o'clock, and by the time you would leave at 1 or 2 in the morning, and it starts right back up at 9:30, 10 on Saturday. There's probably just a straight 24 hours of stuff to do. So it's
you're pretty much going to be wiped out by the end of the weekend, aren't you, Rob? I mean, how are you going to manage all of that?
That next week I won't be. And I was going to add, and the funny thing was I was talking to Niki. I'm like, should we add an investigation for Sunday too? And she's like,
I was like, no. And I'm all about investigating, but that's just, come on, man. Are you going to go around?
I know y'all can pull it off, though, and I know you got the chops.
You know what it is, and then just like Monday to Wednesday of the week after, you just don't hear from any of us. That's just the bottom line. Everyone just is dead. So, I definitely think you should make it out, but like I said, I have a biased opinion. So, but let's talk. Keep me posted, and we will go from there.
Awesome, man. Yeah, that's right. No, I think it's awesome.
Now, I have a question, because I've watched, all of your videos. So, with the people who you're with when you're investigating, for those who haven't, do you investigate with a group? Are you an individual? Who do you bring with you to investigate some of these locations?
Yeah, that's a really good question, Niki. So, it kind of, there's no one set group that I investigate with. Basically, kind of just the thing is, I really like to travel to as many places that I can to try to do investigations, and so it's a lot to ask for a whole group to follow you to California or to follow you to North Carolina or Baltimore or Ohio for the Paracon. So, just out of the fact that I travel so much, what I've always found was easiest was that, through the show and meeting people over the years and on social media and fans of the show who've reached out to me, I've never really had a hard time trying to go to a location, maybe because I'm there for work or I just, happen to be there, visiting a family member or a friend. I don't have a hard time finding somebody to connect with and to go and investigate with. So I've actually investigated, with, over a dozen different paranormal groups or freelance investigators, probably even close to 20. But when I'm back home in Texas, there's definitely a core group of investigators that, we all have, busy schedules with family and other obligations. So, there's always a core group that, you'll send out an email or a text, and maybe one or two people will say yes, and the other one can't do it, and then the next time the people who do it with you can't, and then the other guy can. So it's just a variety. And Texas is such a huge state that, when I go down to the valley, there's investigators in the valley. When I'm near Austin, there's investigators in Austin. And when I'm in North Texas, there's investigators in North Texas. I like to give a call. So because I am in Texas, a lot of my cases are in Texas. So you'll see a lot of the same faces over and over in the videos just because of that. But I think really, to the core, I've just been really fortunate that there's been so many people that have investigated with me with open arms, because it's really been a result of just the friendships and the connections I've made with the community over the years that allows me to go to places and see things that I wouldn't be able to do on my own.
That's absolutely awesome. That's kind of what I want to do. I don't want to do the group thing. I did it. I felt limited. I want to be able to kind of go where I want, with who I want, when I want. And, and it's nice that you've had open arms. I know I talked to Mike and Stephanie Hartman last week, and they actually do the same thing. They investigate with a bunch of different people. They're not a part of a group per se. And I think that, it gives you a different, the result of your investigation can be very different by what group by who you're with. You know what I mean? Like, at least I've noticed, because I've gone to some of the same locations with different people and had a somewhat different outcome, really. Have you noticed that when you investigate with different people? Do you ever go back to the same places?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's a really great observation, Nikki. I think that I have noticed that actually there's two places that I've been to just with a different group of people each time, and so you do see some differences. One of the things that I enjoy about investigating with a different group of people, different types of people, is that it really lets you see a broad spectrum of how people like to investigate. So, I've investigated with people who are really strict, and you can't move, you can't do anything without saying, I made that noise. The real, stringent approach where you basically have to sit still for half an hour, to the other end of the spectrum where the second you hear something, everybody goes running, and and so it's both ends of the spectrums, and somewhere in the middle you kind of find what you like and what you don't like, and you just kind of end up developing your own investigation style. You basically take the best or the things that you like the most from other people and kind of twist around to kind of fit your personality, and then you end up developing really your own distinct way of performing an investigation. And so I think that's one of the biggest benefits of investigating with others, is just broadening your horizon and learning how to be a better investigator yourself.
I definitely agree. I know having an opportunity to go to some of the same places and getting that different, it's almost like you walk into the investigation, you have a different feel. Like, I don't know, and maybe that's just me, because, I admit it, I'm crazy, but, like, I feel like walking in the door, depending on who you're with, it almost has a different energy. And I've noticed that the results have been very different, because there's some places that I have the luxury of going to multiple times, like the Kingsville Library. Right, Rob?
Yeah, that I always have fun at the Kingsville Library. It's not local to me, but it's only about an hour from my house, and it's the closest investigation I do. And we've gone there 3 times. One time I don't even remember going, so I can't even qualify that as me going. I went to fill my obligations, but I was like all doped up on Percocet, so I don't even.
Yeah, he kind of fell on the floor.
I didn't fall on the floor. I sat on the floor. She thought I fell. There's a difference between falling on the floor and sitting on the floor and people just assuming you fell.
Right.
But
yeah.
Why go there now? But yeah, you notice, like, we have a set, and that's the way I function as well, is we don't have a set team for live paranormal. I guess we have a set team of about 80 people, so we can I can pick and pull from the 80 different, hosts and co-hosts and writers and stuff that we have, depending on where I go. So I think the way you function, the way we function is pretty similar, because we don't just, pack up and take the set people, everywhere we go. It's nice too, because we might have someone who's a specialist, or and like Niki says, expert, because I know she knows that.
No,
word.
Niki does not say the word expert. No.
Niki hates the word expert. So if you ever want to get under her skin, just say someone's an expert in the topic, and she'll go on and on for.
I will. I get on my soapbox. I have to provide
let
snacks
me tell
to the crowd.
You about expert. So
exactly.
Expert.
I'm cutting you off. I'm cutting you off because I've got to ask Alejandro. Now, when I'm going through my Google Plus and I saw that you were doing a documentary on the Ouija board, even, it threw me for a loop. And I don't know why, because I guess, I don't believe it ever came up when we had talked in the past, but it kind of caught me off guard that you were going to be doing a documentary on the Ouija board. Now, what sparked that interest, and had you had experience with a Ouija board prior to deciding to do this?
Yeah, no, it it's funny that you say that, because it is a little bit out of left field. So with that Ouija board documentary, it was actually an idea and a project that my friend Summer from Alameda Paranormal came to me, and she said that she wanted to basically do a documentary on the spirit board, the Ouija board. And when she came to me, I told her, I had also had the same kind of interest, and I think my interest was not so much that I've had an experience or I have a one opinion that I'm trying to persuade is right or wrong about the Ouija board. It was actually just to go on an exploration about understanding what it is, what it means, why it's so popular, especially it seems now with the movie that's come out. And so to me it was kind of just another opportunity to go explore a topic in the paranormal in a really, in-depth way. And so really, at the end of the day, it's Summer's film, but she completely came to me and asked me to be a part of the film. As far as, so when she came down to Texas where we're at, and we went and met a coven of witches, and we got their perspective on the Ouija board, and we got to use the Ouija board with them. And then we went to a haunted location in Dallas and actually had a crazy night with the Ouija board. Up till then, I probably would have said every time I've used it, I've never seen anything crazy, but that night something crazy happened. And I don't want to give away exactly the details, because I know Summer's super excited about the documentary, and she feels like that's one of the most exciting things in it. But as you know, we went all the way. I mean, we went all the way to Baltimore to go to the heart of the WouijaCon to continue that search. So the Ouija board documentary is really just it was just an opportunity through helping Summer on her film for me to explore explore the topic, learn more about it, and start developing my own opinion about the subject. And since WouijaCon, I'm not exactly sure where what she's planning on next. I think she might try to go to New Orleans and try some voodoo aspect to it. But by the time it's said and done, the documentary is going to be a really broad, in-depth, search into the topic. You're going to get so many different opinions, so many different experts, quote unquote, not to get Niki mad at me, in different areas. But that one thing they have in common is that they all have strong opinions about it one way or another. And really, by the end of the film, maybe the people who are watching it will learn something or think of something that they never thought about with the Ouija board, or it'll just reinforce their perceptions of what they think it is. And so it's a really cool documentary. I'm really honored to have gotten a chance to help Summer with it, and I know she's still working hard on it. And I know as her friend, when she gets near to putting information out on it, I'm going to definitely help her by promoting it on social media, because she's a good friend of mine, and I think the film's going to be awesome. It's going to have Chip Coffey, Robert Murch, and I would really like to see the film succeed, just because I think the film is great, and it's being made by a good friend of mine.
Awesome.
Well, let us know when when you want us to promote it, and we'll definitely promote it for you guys as well.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I appreciate that.
Now you mentioned this was a little bit out in left field compared to what you usually do. Do you have any other aspirations to do anything else? We were at the UFO convention this weekend, so we kind of, broaden our horizons. Is there any topic, that you might be interested in thinking about doing that is not the norm for you? Maybe something, in the genre, but yet something you haven't already attacked that you might be, interested in doing a documentary or a video on.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm actually the funny thing about the Explorer this year is that I've really found that this year I've gone a really different direction than previous seasons of The Explorer. So this year is the 4th year of The Explorer, and I've been really fortunate to go to a lot of really cool places and do a lot of investigations, and I still do that. But I found that as an investigator and just as a person that I'm really being drawn into different areas of the paranormal. It's kind of like it's a natural progression of my my curiosity to learn more and to get a bigger, broader view of what's out there. So this year is the first time ever that I've worked with mediums and gotten to meet with them and talk to them off camera and then get them on camera just to share with others their insights, their opinions, and it doesn't mean that all of a sudden I myself am 100% convinced one way or another, but I think just by putting it on and listening to them and sharing the videos, I learn, I grow, and then hopefully there's something there that people who are watching the videos can take for themselves. I'm really big right now into learning about spiritualism. This in the 1890s to the early 1920s. Spiritualism was huge in the United States. Houdini, who was one of the top performers at the time, would do seances as part of his act, and we saw this at WikiCon. The Ouija board would be on the cover of the biggest magazines and national newspapers, and scientists were very openly trying to find out about ghosts and prove that they existed. And at the time there was this romanticism and this acceptance by the public and mainstream celebrities of the time that this was something that everybody was really fascinated with. It was trendy at the time to be into paranormal research and to investigate and to work with mediums. And I know it seems like by learning the history of that, you also find out that at a certain point, through different things, those topics became taboo. And, it seems like now, as of late, we're people say history repeats itself, and I feel like we're almost now at a point where it's almost a revival of that time, partially due to TV shows, partially due to people, social media. There's a new revival, a new interest. The paranormal is now more popular than it was, 20, 30 years ago, and it's really cool to see how things come back around, and it's also really cool to get a perspective on what people in this field were doing 100 years ago. So I totally am on this search this year in season 4 to kind of explore those ideas and to get a better understanding of the people who have done this before me and things that people might not usually see on TV.
Definitely. Now, I know one of your most recent videos, at least within the past few, I think, weeks here, the table tipping.
Right.
How was that? How was that experience? Like, what do you think about table tipping?
Well, that was a really interesting experience. You know, I went out to Los Angeles to basically try to film and document a different perspective, some different things. And so I connected with a medium, going back to kind of what I just said earlier. And I really didn't know what she was going to come and share with me. I didn't tell her I want table tipping. I didn't tell her I wanted anything specific. I just asked if she could come with me and just share with me whatever she thought I would find interesting. And so she showed up at this studio that I was filming at, and she said, let's do table tipping. And so that was really, really cool. You know, if we're table tipping, basically it's a type of seance. She calls onto the spirit, asks that they help us basically lift a table off the ground. And so in the video, it's basically people just resting the tip of their fingers on top of the table in hopes that through a spirit seance, the spirits will help us lift the table off the ground with our fingertips on top, not underneath it. And I hope I'm trying to describe it the best that I can. But the experience was crazy because it was a huge table. It ended up rocking a lot. I can say for myself, I definitely felt like I wasn't making a move. If you ask the other people there, they'll tell you they didn't think they were making a move. But then you still, in your mind, you know, there's still that part of you. It's like, well, what's the rational explanation? What could it cost it? Was it subconscious? Is it something about the rhythm? Was somebody in the group trying to play a trick on us? You know, you wonder those things, but that's just human to wonder. So can I say that definitely I know that table tipping works or that spirits made it move? Or I can't say that 100%. But what I can say is I saw something that I'd never experienced before with a really great person, Ellen Marin. She was so sweet, and everybody there had a blast. And sometimes you just can't forget that this is supposed to be fun. People want to get hung up on, you know, I know this, I know that, this is 100% this or this is not. And sometimes you just got to take it at face value that when you're on this search to find out answers, the search sometimes is the reward. Not that you get the answer, but the search itself, the experience itself is the reward. It's that fun experience of doing that with really cool people that I'm always going to remember.
Dude, you should write that as a quote for your website. My goodness, that's fantastic. I mean, that is like what so many people need to remember. People should have it tattooed, like on their arms or something. Because everybody like goes in, and a lot of people take it too serious, and you know they want to fight everybody. I know that I'm right because I'm an expert, you know, and all this jazz. And you know, you got to have fun, otherwise it becomes a like cesspool of doo doo. And who wants to be in that? I don't. But I have a question from that trip. Okay, so you went to LA and you did that. Now you did something else while you were in LA. Am I right? You went to some pretty awesome place, like YouTube space?
Yeah, I wasn't trying to, you know, name drop or you know, hype myself up. Yeah. So that was shot at YouTube. So you know, I've been on YouTube for 5 years, and it's been really a passion project. I do it because I love it. And, you know, out of that work, I got the opportunity, thanks to the number of subscribers and views, yada, yada, to go to Los Angeles and film in their studio, the YouTube studio. And so it was an amazing opportunity. I don't think anybody in my shoes would have done the same thing I did. There's no way I could have passed up on going out there. I got to use this equipment that I would never get to use, that I would never be able to afford, and the place was just amazing. And for like one day in my life, I felt like, oh my gosh, I'm in the big leagues, and so it was just incredible. And you know, it obviously it's always tough to leave home and leave wife and the kids, but it was just something it was just an opportunity that I would have regretted if I didn't go. And so I had a blast, and the day couldn't have been any better because not only was it an amazing place, I was able to invite, different people. So in another episode that's going to come from that, I had somebody who shared with me their Reiki exorcism. So Reiki is like a spiritual way to heal somebody, and I had somebody who had an exorcism with a Reiki practitioner. So she shared her story, and that's really, really interesting. And again, that's something way off the normal path of the paranormal, but it's still kind of connected to the field. And then I have somebody who, believe it or not, said she saw a fairy. So that story's coming out too, and it's really cool because it was a really fun day, and I got to document some really interesting stuff. And the table tipping was, oh man, I can't believe I'm going to say this, the tip of the iceberg.
Pun intended. I love it.
Yeah, I know.
Now, we're getting toward the end of the time, so I wanted to give you time to talk about anything that you wanted to discuss, as well as to, I've been putting your contact information in the chat room as we go along, but if you want to tell those who aren't in the chat room how they can get a hold of you, and like I said, anything you'd like to discuss, the floor is yours. Sure.
No, I appreciate that. As far as where people can find me at deadexplorer.com, and that's where people can find all my videos, the connections to social media, and a newsletter if people want to join that. It's 100% spam-free. It's basically just me writing articles about different topics. So I wrote an article about WouijaCon as my last newsletter, and I shared that with the subscribers to the newsletter. So if you're into these kind of conversations, that's what the newsletter is. And then as far as what I'm working on right now, I'm actually working on a documentary about the Gonzales County Jail, the Guntown Jail, which is actually the site of one of my most viral videos. There's a video that I know, Niki, you and I have talked about it, I believe, about when I went out to a jail. And yes. On that night, an investigator, Jay Villarreal, seemed to have been attacked. And, I know we're short on time, so I don't really, the story it's really interesting. But, bottom line is it's the first time I ever been to a place where I actually had a real scary, or somebody I was with had a scary, life-threatening experience. I mean, the guy, his eyes were red. He had tears coming out of his face, running down his cheeks. And in his words, he said he was being choked. And to this day, he believes he was choked by a ghost. And so, I've gone back there several more times because that just has had such a profound effect on me that's the one location and investigator that I think has become a part of who I am. And to me, there's a mystery there that I still haven't been able to solve. So the documentary is me going back and taking it, all going real in depth. I have this lady who lived there when she was 6 to 16, and her dad was the sheriff, and her mom cooked meals for the prisoners, and one prisoner escaped and turned himself back in on a Sunday so he can eat her pie, and then I had a gentleman, a university professor, a forensics professor. He's on the board of forensics for, I believe for the state of Texas, and forensics, that's like CSI, so he can tell you just by looking at things whether, how a crime was committed. So I showed him the video of Jay being choked, and I asked him, I said, what does this look like to you? And his surprise really shocked me. And so, I brought in a bunch of different people who worked there for 30 years who say it's never haunted, to people in the town who will tell you it is. And then I brought Jay back for the first time since that attack to kind of go over that night with him again. And also just some other investigators and some of their experiences, and that actually line up a lot with what the people in the town have had. And in a way, some of their stories will debunk what some of these investigators have experienced, but then some of the stories only reinforces what these investigators experienced. So by the time the film is done, it's amazing because you find out about where the jail was before, you find out where it's at now, you find out what effect the paranormal investigations have had on it, and you also get to finally see all these people talk about, and you maybe by the end of the film you decide whether or not the jail is haunted and whether or not you really believe Jay was attacked.
Awesome. Oh my goodness. That's awesome.
And so that the movie will premiere on June 13th in the town of Gonzales. It's a 100% fundraiser. Everything from that night is going straight to that jail to keep it so future paranormal investigators can keep going there, because I think it's an unknown treasure, but I think it's a place that people need to go see for themselves. And then, you know, after that it will be available to the public. And so any day now I'm going to be adding more information to the website, deadexplorer.com, with the information. So if anybody's in Texas and wants to come check it out, they can do that, or after it premieres so people can see it. And so you can go sign up for the newsletter, and I can or follow me on one of the social media accounts on that page, and I guarantee if you want to know more about it, you'll be able to find out more as I'm getting closer to the premiere.
Fantastic. That's absolutely awesome. Rob, I knew you wanted to say something. You there, buddy?
I always want to say something. It's just
I know.
Worthwhile and is it appropriate? I guess would be the two things. You know, I think what we're going to do tonight, and I alluded to this earlier, is because, you know, I do appreciate the new friendship that we have bonded because of the No Man Left Behind, you know, and we joke about that. We find it funny. But and I think I'm going to go ahead and make the announcement tonight, just because of who the guest is, that we will be doing an event on Halloween in Erie, Pennsylvania. It'll be somewhat like the Paranormal SuperCon, but it'll be based around Halloween. So we'll do an investigation on October 30th, and the expo and lecture series will be on the 31st, and it'll be in Erie, Pennsylvania. It's the first time I talked about it publicly, and you know, it's not named yet because I wasn't prepared to make the announcement yet. But, you know, through persuasion and just the fact that I like to talk, and of course who the guest is, we're going to, you know, we're going to do our annual Halloween event back in Erie, a 2-day event, and look for the details like name, guests and stuff to be coming soon. But you know, I'm putting it out there because people are already announcing their plans for Halloween, but we're doing a big one at Live Paranormal, and we're doing it in Erie, Pennsylvania for 2 days, and you know, get ready for more details.
Awesome.
Yeah. That is awesome.
So hopefully you'll make that one too. Hopefully you'll just come to all the Live Paranormal events.
We have a busy year.
Well,
yeah. I really admire what y'all do, though. I think what y'all do is awesome.
Well, I definitely appreciate that. I have to agree with you, and we admire what you do. So.
Wow.
It goes both ways.
Well, I have to thank you for being a guest once again, and you know, it was awesome to meet you, and everyone has to check out, you know, sign up for the newsletter. I can attest it is spam free. I get nothing but the goods. So head over to deadexplorer.com, sign up for that, check out his YouTube channel, watch these videos. You will be impressed. They are frigging awesome, and thank you for being a guest.
And hopefully I was gonna say, hopefully we'll see you at the SuperCon. We'll even put your face and your everything right on the SuperCon page. So, yeah, as an enticer, you might want to think about it because they get a lot of promotion out of it.
Awesome. Well, I mean, sincerely, it was a lot of fun to hang out with y'all at WouijaCon, and really, anytime I meet good people, I want to always find ways to reconnect with them. It's been kind of the way I've operated, and so, you know, I sincerely, all the other good stuff outside, cool place, you know, promotion, whatever, that's all good. That's the cherry on top. But, you know, I really appreciate what y'all do. I'm glad I was on your show tonight. Thank you for inviting me. and I definitely will always be looking at ways to hang out with y'all in person again in the future.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, and we are at the end of our show. So thank you very much for being a guest, and I'll be talking to you soon. Good night.